All right, fellas, I'm back for predictions slash playoff picture and everything. A lot has happened since our last video, so we'll get into it all. The ESPN sucks. ESPN's being weird. Tuesday, Mikosi was clinched and Cal was still alive. Yesterday, Mikosi was not clinched and Cal had the little E next to him. Now they're back to how they were. I have no idea. I'm going to be basically making the playoffs manually because ESPN's tiebreakers are really fucked. But yeah, just the league all-time commish low this week, just getting peppered by the league. And now Cal has essentially done what everyone shouldn't and realized he's eliminated, so he sold all his good players and then rage baited me for like 4 hours while I'm already at my physical and emotional low. Thanks, Cal. Fucking scumbag. Let's get into everything. You've all seen the standings. You all know what the standings are. Fuck Cal. All right, so first things first, we're going to go over the trades that happened. This trade between Briggs and Pushan, I see the logic. I don't see the execution. I understand Amon-Ra's not playing. Briggs is on, like, Pushan's in a much better spot than Briggs. Briggs is in a must-win. If Amon-Ra's probably not playing, he needs to get rid of him. But why not just do, like, Amon-Ra for Montgomery straight up? How did Bucky get involved in this? Was Pushan asking for more than Amon-Ra? Like, Josh Downs isn't even going to start for Briggs this week. So why did... like I said, I see the vision. I understand what Briggs is doing here for sure. But I just curious on why he needed to trade away his best two players, especially since Bucky is playing, and get just for basically Montgomery. I don't know. Assuming it probably won't matter in the end. Briggs needed a lot of stuff to go his way to get in, but weird. This trade is me and Brett's. Kittle is on bye. Brett had no running backs, so I traded him Fannin and 2 running backs for George Kittle because JD's never going to play. Just bought him in as a locker room guy. Never will start him over Josh Allen. But yeah, everyone was mad about this one too. I traded it was basically a tight end swap. Plus, I gave him his 2 starting running backs for the week. No one's been able. I've point blank asked people what's wrong with our trade, and no one's been able to give me an actual reason other than just bitching and complaining about it. So I've been trying to get Kittle off of Brett for 4 weeks. You guys are honestly lucky. I didn't get him like 4 weeks ago. So fuck you guys. Now we get into it. Those first 2, say what you will, at least logic is there. This is a great trade for Maish. In Maish, just to clarify, I was sending the Maish with the crying emojis saying you got him because Cal is essentially eliminated and he just traded for a wide receiver that's not good enough to start on his team and Travion Henderson, who is on bye. How does that make sense? He didn't even... Not even the worst trade. Not even the worst one. What the fuck is this, Cal? Cal traded away Bijan for essentially Bowers and Zay Flowers. Crazy. Because he's not going to start Romeo Doubs. So, just insane. Trade away RB4 and when you're in a must-win for Brock Bowers and Zay Flowers just put up 0.5 against the Bengals defense. He put up 0.5, and you just traded Bijan for him. What the fuck? And so, while I was trying to get to the bottom of these very obviously stupid and probably collusionist trades, Cal just, instead of, I was like, Cal, do you act, like, are these actual trades, like, what's going on with these trades? These are fucking ridiculous. Can you explain them to me? And instead, he was just like, no, fuck you guys. This is great. This is great. Blah, 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 blah. That went on for about an hour. I have been in a bad mood for about a week. So after about an hour of that, and then Rags random chirp ends. Oh, Jesus Christ, when you get me started. I kind of just gave up, left the group chat, and just sent the trades through. Immediately get a text from Cal. Dude, why did you send those through? I did them as a joke, blah, blah, blah. Fuck you, Cal. Fuck you. This is the thinnest of ices from me. So that leads me into current disciplinary actions in the league. And if anyone ever wants to complain about Ford getting a little more dictatory, that's not a word, talk to these people, because fuck them. All right, so the first warning, more of just you annoyed Ford for 24 to 48 hours straight, is Ishan Rag. It was pretty funny. They're just super annoying, just pushing through just stupid-ass trades like the entire team swap and the whatever the fuck that shit is in the bottom right. Yeah, no more of this, please. Maybe at a time when I'm not dealing with Cal, do that. But come on, guys. Come on. And then the fellas that are officially on probation, as you can see, they each have 2 out of their allotted 3 strikes. And yes, I made that up now. Pushan, your first strike was not finishing the punishment by the time the league started. Your second strike is not finishing your punishment by the time this season ended. You're going to do this punishment during the playoffs of the season after you lost. That's crazy. And then Cal, your 2 strikes are the trades you made. Those are your strikes. It was close to a third. And Lucas, if you ever see this video, a third strike will result in Lucas taking your spot in the league. Jesus Christ. Fuming. This is what Cal wants. I'm giving it to him. I know that. Can't help it. Maybe he's right. Maybe I do have a concussion because I just wanted to murder him. Fuck you, TikTok. Don't take that down. All right, now that we've talked about the sad state of the league and what the fellas have been putting me through this week, let's talk a little bit about playoff scenarios. And then in the next video, I will get to the matchups. For the bottom, essentially, Sutton is safe because the bottom 3 have all beaten each other in a circle. Jesus, pause. But none of them have the tiebreaker over the other. So if they're all 3-11, say, like if Brett wins and they're all tied at 3-11, then it'll come down to points 4. And unless those 2 put up 100 plus more points than Sutton, he's safe. So Sutton, you're in the clear. Hayden and Brett, if they are tied at the end of the season, I think Hayden loses. Obviously, if Brett doesn't win this week, none of that matters. Brett's the loser. So still a lot to play for those 2. Sutton might be the only one really left who's not playing for anything. Let's see. Up at the top, Scott's not playing for anything. He's the 1 seed. I am locked in the playoffs, but not really locked into a seed. I think I could be anywhere from like 2 to 5 because I'm going to have at least 9 wins. So the only ones that can tie me are I think I'm pretty much locked into like a top 2 or 3 seed. And then Makosi, Clay, Ish are all essentially in. Like even if they all lose, I think they're essentially in because there's no way someone has a clear head-to-head. So it's going to come down to points 4, and that'll just be Ish going in. And the only one that would maybe be at risk is Clay. Makosi and Ish are basically in. And then the 6 and 7, 7 and 6 teams, there is a world where a 6 and 7 team can still get in, but Rob and Briggs play each other, and Cal has such few points forward that it's kind of the winner of Cal's out. The winner of Rob and Briggs has a chance, but they would also need Pushan to lose to Clay. They would need Kyle to lose who is he playing? To Cal, and they would need Rag to lose. And those are all 3 of those are pretty big favorites this week. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and say it's not looking good for the winner of my brain is scrambled, of Briggs and Rob. So that's what it is. The 7 and 6 teams are fighting for 2 slots. So I think it's just win and try and put up as many points as you can. And I think they're all pretty close in points. So that'll be interesting to see. Let's get into some matchups in part 2. fucking dog is going crazy on the street. What a crazy start to this video. All right. Makozy versus Sutton. Not a lot to play for in this matchup. Like I said, Makozy is essentially already in, and Sutton is essentially safe from punishment. So, still, definitely both guys want to win. Makozy's a slight underdog here. It's mostly because Chuba's on bye, Drake May's on bye. Manungai being hurt is very concerning because this essentially turns him into no running backs on his roster. This is basically Sutton's running backs. Sutton's 3 running backs versus Makozy's 3 wide receivers. But the thing is, I like Terry and I like Watson a lot more than I like Manungai and Ty Johnson. So I'm going with Sut here. 4th win. That would normally make you the loser in a lot of years, but shout out to Brett and Hayden for really stinking it up for you. The problem is with Sutton is the Kansas City Houston thing is really tricky. Like, all your guys playing against those 2 good defenses, like Rice and Kelsey against Houston, is going to be tough. Like, I know Mahomes can handle it, but still. And Debo, who knows? With Terry back, takes a fall. Terry looked awesome last week, so Sutton's got to be excited about that. He gets 1 week of Terry after drafting him way too high. But Bo Nix against Vegas, I'm sure he'll bounce back from bad week last week. And then Breece Hall, Miami. I think Sutton's in a good spot to have a pretty nice week. So I started with probably the least influential matchup, and we're going to move on from here. Sutton takes this one home. All right, now another matchup that might not be super important, but could. I think Briggs has enough points for to kind of make himself a contender in the tiebreakers if enough teams end up at 7-7 with him if he wins. I don't think Rob really has a chance on that. A lot of stuff would need to go the winner this way. This is essentially a play-in game, but a play-in game where you're not guaranteed a playoff spot. So that sucks for these guys. What else? Goddamn, I'm all over the place. All right, yeah, this is the matchup we were all excited for because it was a JT trade, but so much bullshit has happened since then that the JT trade seems pretty tame and fair at this point because of all the fucking bullshit that Cal pulled. Oh, God. Briggs did make a big trade this week. He rolled the dice on Amon-Ra not playing. Actually, let me go look if there's an update with that. All right, no update on that. I think he'll probably be a game time decision, but probably trending toward no. Short week, ankle, probably don't want to risk it, but they are kind of in a must win. Oh, if he plays, Briggs is going to look like a fucking idiot. He traded away Bucky and Amon-Ra. Oh, Briggs. I want to know, I'm going to see Briggs tonight, so I'll ask him. I really want to know how that back and forth with Pushan went. Did Pushan request more on top of Amon-Ra and you had to send Bucky to sweeten it? Because you're not starting Downs, and Monty is not that awesome. So I'm very curious. I don't think Briggs is going to win this week. And I think Rob winning eliminates both of them essentially. And that's a really sick thing for Rob to do, which I respect. The problem with Rob's team is O'Marion Hampton has not been activated off IR yet. We don't know if he'll be playing. Thomas is trotting out Sharbs, Cade Otton, Troy Franklin, and Jordan Addison. That's horrendous. He better hope Monty gets a touchdown tonight. And then Rob is trotting out injured Baker. Kyron Williams is banged up, but he'll be fine. He's always banged up. Godwin, who knows? And then if Hampton isn't activated, he's probably going to go Brian Thomas Jr., I'd guess. I'm going Rob here. I think Pickens and Monty tonight will be huge. Tonight's a big fantasy night. I mean, the Lions and the Cowboys have a lot of guys, and a lot of people need them. But yeah, I think Rob just has more guys out there this week that could do something. Schefter, just got the Schefter notification that JD is a full participant in practice. Let's go. Anyway, I think this is Rob, and I think it's going to be a low score, and I think Rob winning basically eliminates these two teams along with Cal, so the 6 and 7 teams are done. Bad season from these two former winners. Some poor management. I think pretty good drafts from these two, but poor management. A little bit unlucky in a couple spots, but overall, just it hasn't been the year for former winners. Now that I say that, one of these teams is going to sneak in the playoffs and win it all, but fingers crossed that doesn't happen. Fucking Cal, dude. This is fucking ridiculous. Oh, look at this awesome team that Cal got. So essentially what happened, Cal traded Bijan and Egbuka for Bowers and Zay Flowers, because those are the only people out of those trades that Cal can start this week. He traded Bijan and Egbuka for Bowers and Zay Flowers. Let's talk about Kyle. Kyle, 7 and 6, has a real chance at the playoffs, especially playing against Cal, who just gutted his team and traded away his second best player to the guy he's fucking playing against for a guy that was on bye. But yeah, Kyle still without Laporta, who's probably done for the season. He gets Judkins against Tennessee. Jacobs will play. Burrow's back. Kincaid's probably going to play. And Puka, who is probably wide receiver 2. But I'm picking Mace here. I'm not even going to bother talking about the other side because fuck Cal. And yeah, if Pittman returns to form a little bit, if Pittman and Egbuka start playing like they were at the beginning of the season, Kyle's got a real fun squad, and I would be very upset if I had to play him in the first round. But I think this one is pretty solidly Kyle's matchup to lose. I think Jacobs and Judkins. I mean, Cal doesn't really have any running backs right now. It's bad. And he doesn't really have any wide receivers. He's got Bowers, though, going up against the best defense in the fucking league. Kyle gets the win. I'm not really even doing a bit anymore. This just makes me genuinely angry. Thank you, Cal. All right, and another matchup. This one didn't have a lot of movement in the week. None of these guys were involved in trades. Even though Hayden probably should have. He should have traded Wandell for something. Probably. I did that in my other league where I'm bad. It's a bad time for Wandell, who's wide receiver 10. Yeah, he is wide receiver 10. I'd triple check. That's crazy. Bad time for him to be on bye because now Hayden's trotting out Chris Rodriguez. Marv has not practiced yet this week, which would mean probably Keon Coleman getting plugged, which would suck. But on Scott's side, Mark's practiced for the first time today. Adams hasn't really practiced, but McVay already said like he's going to be good to go. I think he's probably just old. And then London did not practice yet this week, and he's probably like there's what's the point in bringing London back? The Falcons suck. It's not like a broken bone or something. It's like a knee injury. Like we're not rushing back our star in a broken season because of something that could linger. And yes, it's different than Jaden's because his was just a freak snapped arm. So when I say I want Jaden back, it's very different. But I think probably Woody Marks and Devontae will play. He can plug someone in for Drake London, and I think he'll still probably beat Hayden. Scott, if he wins, will officially have the best regular season record ever. I sent him his Venmo today for being the regular season champion, which he locked up a couple weeks ago, but I forgot to send. So enjoy that $50. I don't know. Buy yourself something nice. I don't really care. But yeah, I think this is Scott. Hayden's team. Bleh, bleh. I do like his running back matchups, if that's something. I just don't have a lot of faith that Marv's going to play. Another season from hell for Hayden. He's not good at fantasy. It's bad. It's really bad. Yeah. All right, I'll see you guys in part 3. A lot of shit to talk about. All right, part 3, starting with Pushan versus Clay. Pushan at 7 and 6, Clay at 8 and 5. Seeing Bijan on Clay's team makes me violently angry. Just ridiculous. He got Bijan for... He tried to justify it by being like, oh, my wide receivers are so bad. The wide receivers you traded away were already bad, brother. I hate to break it to you. They weren't great. Zay Flowers and Romeo Doubs were serviceable at best. Once again, Zay Flowers put up 0.5 points against the Cincinnati Bengals defense. Like this week. How? And he traded away Bauer. He traded away tight end 5 for tight end 6 in Bijan. That was essentially the trade. I don't want to hear shit from Evan Clay about, oh, I thought it was a pretty even trade. Oh, me and Cal, everything's above board and fantastic. Yeah, go cry me a river. No wonder Lane Kiffin left you. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I'm happy to see that Lamar's probably hurt. CMC's on bye. Stevenson's on bye. Hunter Henry's on bye. He has Kyle Pitts, so not that big of a downgrade. Starting the Commanders' defense normally is really stupid, but I'll give it to him. Starting anybody against 9 or Max Brosmer, pretty smart. And then the running backs are obviously bad because he has 3 starting running backs on his bench on bye. But he still has Bijan, so he's got a chance in this matchup. He now has running back 1 and running back 4. Oh, my wide receivers are so bad. You have 2 of the top 4. You have the best fantasy football player, and now you have Bijan Robinson too. With that being said, I'm taking Pushan. Any other week when Clay's boys aren't on bye, this is Clay all day. Pushan made probably the first great trade of his life this week, I would say. It is a little risky. He still needs to win, or he needs everyone else to lose, and he put up a ton of points. Yeah, it's going to be, it's risky because Amon-Ra's probably not going to play, but he gets Bucky out of it, and honestly, he probably would have traded Bucky for Monty and Downs anyway. So yeah, not that risky. Seeing P. Ryan starting is not ideal. There's got to be someone better off of waivers, right? But whatever. It's barely worse than Jerry Jeudy. I like Derrick Henry. Even if Lamar's out, I think Dak tonight is going to be huge. And if Philly's going to be weird and keep losing games because they force feed A.J. Brown, that's great for Pushan at least. I'm going Pushan here. These two are kind of on the shit list right now, so it would be great if both of them lost somehow. A tie would be fun. Don't really know how that's possible, but a tie would be fun. Let's go get into the last 2 matchups. This one's Pushan. Let's move along. This is a very important matchup. Brett has to, if he loses, he's the loser. He has to win to give himself a shot. Rag has to win to give himself a shot. If he loses, it would probably come down to a tiebreaker with Briggs or with Rob, and he'd have to make sure he has more points for, which I think he's probably good on, but it's tricky. Easiest way to guarantee it is to win and put up a fuck ton of points, which I think he is in line to do. Obviously, I am rooting for Brett to win because, not really. I don't really care. Brett winning would be cool because it would make him and Hayden come down to a points for thing. That would be fun, but honestly, either of them doing the beer mile would be awesome. I'm obviously picking Rag. I think Brett's trotting out about as good a lineup as he can. Unfortunately, the Titans are going up against the Cleveland defense. He's still starting Raji, which he was always going to do, because he thinks he's going to kill this beer mile. Rag, I think you're going to win, so maybe the points don't matter as much, but you really wish you had Diggs and Tet to try and run up as many points as you can to make sure that you get these tiebreakers. In the moment, after all of the trades and everything, I did say that I was going to send it to randomizer. I am still very, very angry at everyone, but not angry enough to give up a little bit of my power. So I will be doing the points for tiebreaker instead of ESPN's randomizer. So everyone try and put up as many points as you can if you made it this far in the video. Yeah, it's Rag here. McBride is going to have a day. Jetta's against Washington. If there was ever a game for him to get right, it's against our secondary. And it's another one where Javonte tonight is huge. The Cowboys-Lions, it will make or break like half of the matchups tonight alone. So very excited for that. This one's Rag. It was always Rag. I want Rag to be in the playoffs because I think it would be funny, especially if Jetta's puts up like a zero burger in the playoffs and Rag nukes his home or something. That would be awesome. Yeah, you know what? Sorry, Brett. I am rooting for Rag. I think you'd be a very funny person to watch do the beer mile, and so you losing is kind of good for that. Sorry. I appreciate all the trades, though. I thought they were all pretty fair. Good luck this week. Maybe Tony Pollard will have his day. And then finally, maybe not the most important matchup of the week, but like the best, I think. Me versus Ish, 9-4, 8-5. I think based off the math I did, the winner of this will get the 2 seed. If I win, I obviously stay a game clear of everyone. If Ish wins, we have the same record. I think he's beaten me twice now if he wins this week, and he would have way more points so that he would get to the 2 seed. So this game is for the 2 seed. And getting to play one of the worst, like 7-7 teams that gets in. So it's a pretty important game. I'm a pretty decent favorite. I have Kittle on bye, Tyrone Tracy on bye, who Brett dropped because he's on bye, and then no one else wanted to pick up, I guess. Cool by me. I'll take him. And then I have Jordan Mason and Vidal, who both might end up starting because Aaron Jones is questionable and Hampton has not been activated yet. So if one of them is the sole back, I might be plugging them in over Devonta Smith because the Eagles are in a really weird spot right now. I'm obviously also starting Mason Taylor because Kittle is on bye. But for Ish, Dart is on bye. Brissett's been awesome, though. I don't think Brissett's put up less than like 18 since he's been a starter. He's been fantastic, so honestly, that's not really a step down. Gibbs, this is another matchup where it's going to come down to Thursday night tonight. I have CD, he has Gibbs, he has JMO. It's gonna come down to tonight. JMO is wide receiver 1 is massive. JSN bounce back game. I think this is going to be closer than ESPN gives it credit for. I am going to pick myself because I don't trust Cortland Sutton. Bo Nix doesn't really like him. Bo Nix likes his boys, Troy Franklin, a couple other guys. And I like Josh Allen and James Cook against Cincy. I like it. I like CeeDee Lamb against Detroit. I like the Bills stack here. I think they're going to carry me. Thursday Night Football will be massive for this matchup. It'll be fun. I think I take it by an inch. And if I do win, I want to have 3 seasons of 10 or more wins. And my best finish ever in this league is 4th. Just an all-time regular season merchant. I can never get it done. That's why no one should be worried about my team. We will choke. I promise you that. If anyone wants to bet me that I don't, I'll be happy to take it. But the other thing in this matchup is Ish's trade for JMO is aging beautifully. If Amon-Ra stays out for a couple weeks, Ish is already in the playoffs, so he's going to have wide receiver 1 JMO for the playoffs. And I'm going to have to write a formal apology for how much I shat on Ish for that bullshit trade. But yeah, this one's me. Go me. So yeah, here are my predictions. I feel like by the end of the video I was a little more chipper. Talking ball gets me excited. Pause, not that way. And I'm excited for tonight's game. It's going to be awesome. These are my predictions. I'm officially picking all the home teams except myself. Road win this week. I don't really know if I'm actually the road team, but whatever, you see my point. Very excited. Next week will be full of videos getting ready for the playoffs, but this is the last one for now. Good luck, everyone. There's a lot of people who are winning ins. Just go out there and get it done. That's all that matters. Sorry I didn't get more in-depth on what needs to happen for what, but go win your fucking matchup and then talk to me.